What's up, poker players? Hope you guys are out there stacking chips. Had another productive session last night. Won almost 5 buy-ins, 481 big blinds. Actually run plus variance. Up a total of $112 over 3,700 hands. Good win rate. Gotten some good hands and some bad hands, of course. But lots of interesting situations to analyze, so let's jump into the hands. First hand we're taking a look at is Ace-King offsuit in the small blind. We are sitting at a 100 NL table. We get a raise from the cutoff and a 3-bet from the button. We don't have much info on either of these players. We can assume that they are most likely recreational players. And I'm going to be putting in a 4-bet here, being out of position against these players. So I make it 21 to go. The cutoff folds and the button calls. There's now $46 in the pot, and we flop top pair, top kicker with the ace. So we check back, and our opponent checks back as well. The turn is the 7 of hearts. I think there's a good chance that this player is playing a pair that is less than the aces here, and we can try to get value from them by putting in a small turn bet. So I bet $21 on the turn. When this player calls, there will also be $88 in the pot, and they'll only have 60 behind them, giving us the opportunity, if we choose, to try to stack this player on the river. But they do jam all in. It's a little less than $60 for us to call here into a pot of almost 150. We are getting incredible odds, and we're most likely going to be good here. I see that this player has also not won a single re-raise that they have made, but again, it is a very small sample size that we have on this player. But I think our hand is going to be very strong against this player's range in this hand, so I do make the call. I see that this player has put in a straight up bluff against us and has no outs going into the river, and we pick up a pot of over $200 on this hand, the big hand of the evening. Still at the 100 NL table, we have King Queen offsuit in the cutoff. Folds around to us, we open raise to 3x, and we get a call by the big blind, and the small blind 3-bets us. I just make a call here in position. It's $7 for us to make the call. There's now $24 in the pot. Queen high, 2-tone flop, 2 hearts on the board. We flop pair of queens with a king kicker. The small blind leads out for a little bit less than half pot, and we make the call. The turn is the 7 of hearts. There's now almost $47 in the pot. This player only has 40 behind, and they decide to jam all in. We are pot committed in this one and going to be making the call here, so I do make the call with the queens and see that we just had to avoid an ace, a jack, or a heart going into the river, and the river bricks with a 3 of diamonds, and we take down another pot of over $123. Another one at the 100 NL, we have 10 jack offsuit. In the big blind, we get to see a flop for cheap. Flop is 2-tone queen high. We have an outside straight draw with the jack 10. Just check back, being in a 4-way pot, and we get a bet from poker player 1 and a call from the cutoff. The small blind also calls, and I just make a call here too, getting really good odds, and we're in a pot with mostly recreational players. Another great spot to be, and we wind up hitting the nuts on the turn. Now there's only 14-12 in the pot, and we should decide how we are trying to get the rest of our chips in the pot here. I bet $8.45, around 2/3 of the pot, and we get a call from poker player 1. That's it. There's now $31 in the pot, and the river is the 8 of diamonds. We have one of the diamonds in our hand, which is a little bit of a blocker. Doesn't make that big of a difference. I thought that our bet would have made a flush draw hesitate a little bit on the turn, so I decided to bet for value, $14.73 on the river, and this player raises all in. It's less than $30 for us to call into a pot of 90. We're getting 3-1 on our money, and I actually did think about folding this one and really wanted to, but could not. And if he does have the flush, good for him. Nice river. I do make the call, see that he did hit the nut flush on the river. I could have check called that river and probably gotten out of it cheaper. He might have jammed all in and we might have made the call again. I'm gonna go ahead and say we got coolered on that one, but you guys can let me know what you think about this hand down in the comment section below. There's a couple points in here where I think we could have done things a little bit differently. Now we're down to the 50 NL table. We have ace-6 diamonds in the big blind. Button min raises into us. We make a call, see a flop, and flop is 2-tone ace high. We're in a pot with a recreational type player. Check back the flop, and this player bets above the pot. That is going to be usually a strong hand, from a player who hasn't shown much aggression so far. I do make the call though, and we see a 6 on the turn. We pretty much have the nuts right here. We could lose to sets. A straight isn't completely out of the question, but I don't think it's going to be too much of this player's range. We're going to be beating a lot of the ace kings, ace queens that could be playing in this spot too. And this player just jams all in, and I'm not going to be getting away from it with top 2 pair against this type of player. So I do make the call, see that we were up against ace 4, 2 pair as well. We have to avoid a 4, which we do, and see that we kind of got lucky there with the 6 on the turn. But that's going to happen once in a while, and I'm going to take it. Now we head down to the 25 NL table. We have pocket aces in the big blind. Under the gun min raises, under the gun +1 calls, and the button calls. Not going to make this one cheap. 275 to see a flop. That is 5.5x. And we get a call from the button. Flop is 6 high 2-tone, 660 in the pot. This player has 20-30 behind them. We have a backdoor flush draw and the pair of aces. I bet half pot on the flop, and this player raises. And with this type of low flop, 2-tone, pretty draw heavy, I think that there's going to be a lot of hands that would be raising in this spot. This is a regular player, and that bet sizing looks like it's a pretty strong hand, but I think aces are probably going to be good against the majority of this player's range. So I decided to jam here and try to possibly get some folds from some of the draws that could be out there, and to get value from the pairs that are above the board here. They make a call. They wound up flopping bottom set. Tough spot for us with the aces. We do have the flush draw going into the river, but miss, and we lose a pot right there. That would have been a pretty crazy fold for us to make on the flop. It's possible, not completely out of the question with this player's relatively tight numbers, but I'm not completely upset with the play. You guys can let me know about this one as well. Do you think there is a chance I could have folded this one on the flop? Or did I just get coolered here and he got lucky with hitting that 3 on the flop? So many choices here in the game of poker, you guys. This is what makes the game interesting. Now we have pocket aces under the gun. Open raise to 4x. We are really deep stacked on this table. Almost 250 big blinds. And we get a call from the big blind. There's now 850 in the pot. Flop is 2-tone, queen high. We bet $5 on the flop, and we get check raised here. I believe this is the same player who check raised us earlier with just the queen high, and I'm pretty sure that is where our stack came from. So I do make the call here, knowing that this player does not hesitate to check raise light. The turn is a 10. This board is very draw heavy, but then they check back on the turn, and I think that there's a good chance here that this player is either straight up bluffing or has something like a straight draw or flush draw, most likely a flush draw if they check back here. A couple of the straight draws got there. I still like our chances though against this player's range, and we do want to make a lot of the draws that didn't get there pay for it here on the turn. So I bet $29. If this player jams all in, I'm going to be making the call, but they do fold, and we pick up a pot right there of over 46 bucks with the pocket aces. That was another interesting check raise, probably another straight up bluff. Seemed like that player put in the check raise and then pretty much gave up on the pot. Now we have pocket queens in the cutoff. Folds on to us, open raise to 3x. Folds the big blind, who 3-bets. And we see that this player has a 3-bet percentage of 12.1%. I remember playing against this player many times, and that this player does play a very aggressive game pre-flop. Tightens up a little bit post-flop, but does not hesitate to 3-bet much at all. So I do make the call here. You could argue against 4-betting this player as well. This is a pretty strong hand against this player's 3-bet range, and this player doesn't fold very much to 4-bets, so we could be getting more money in the pot in a good spot. But I decide to just call here and see a flop in position against this player. Flop is king high 2-tone. There's 1650 in the flop, and this player leads out for 1150. Pretty big bet. It's about 2/3 of the pot. I elect just to call here. The turn is the 3 of clubs. We now are 1 card from the club draw. Fine dining checks back, and I just check back as well. The river is the jack of spades. Our pocket queens doesn't really have too much value right now. We pretty much just have showdown value. I'm going to call a lot of the bets that this player puts in on the river, but if he does check back, I'm just going to check back as well, because I think a lot of kings check in this spot. and we're really not going to be getting much value from any other hands out there if we do bet the river here. So he checks back and I check back just to get the showdown, and we win a pot right here with the pocket queens. Decent pot of 37.53. That was an interesting hand. I wonder what this player did have. Maybe something like ace 10, no clubs, maybe ace queen. I don't know. This player's 3-bet percentage is so large that his range really could be a lot of things here. Good session for us though. We had $112 to the bankroll, which is currently now sitting at $3,053.23. We've got over 10,000 combat points and $50 in our sports betting account now because of the recent bonus that ACR was running. Might have to put in some NFL bets this weekend. Let me know in the comments section below who you guys like in the Sunday and Monday games. Head down to the video description for links to America's Card Room where I do all of my poker playing. If you have not signed up, do that now. Use promo code DKPoker to receive a $1,000 match deposit bonus as well as 50 tournament bucks. Definitely check out Hold'em Manager 2. They have a 30-day free trial. That link is down in the video description as well. I use that every time I play it. I guarantee I would not be winning as much money as I do without this program. 100% worth it. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Hit that subscribe button if you guys have not done that yet. Trying to keep up on the daily videos here so you guys can stay updated on the 100K challenge, as well as learn from the poker mistakes and some of the plays that I'm making on the tables. I really do hope you guys are learning from this channel and can take away some really great poker info so that you can enjoy the game of poker as much as I do. Be back with a new video soon, but until then, I'll see you guys out on the virtual felt.